Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business stories, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Dr. Juan Salinas to the show. Dr. Juan is the founder of Pnuff Crunch. Peanut Crunch is the only baked peanut puff made from protein-filled peanuts, fiberful navy beans, and energy-lasting rice. And there are no added flavors or preservatives. Now, before we dive into this interview, if you enjoy this kind of content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And for more interviews like this, please visit TrepTalks.com. And with that, Dr. Juan, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today at TrepTalks. Really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. What's up, Sushant? Thank you very much for having me, man. This is a pleasure being here.
I'm very excited about this interview. Now, you have a very interesting story. I watched your Shark Tank episode, and you shared a little bit about how you, I guess, immigrated to the US and you've done different degrees, and you have a lot of experience in the food preparation industry. So maybe can you share briefly about a little bit about your background and kind of what motivated you to start this business?
Yeah, man. Sure, man. So I'm from Honduras, Central America, small little country in Central America. Um, I came here, I believe it was 1985, and I had just finished high school, and I was just really eager to, get into the United States and just take advantage of the education, higher education here at the college level. So I was fortunate enough that my parents, were willing to sacrifice everything they had to send me here, and I took advantage of it. I got my PhD from Rutgers University, and then I went on to work for some of those large CPG companies you mentioned, like Kraft, Nabisco, Cadbury. I basically went around, man. I did a little bit of go around between all the big ones for about, I don't know, 20, 25 years until I decided to start my own business. So I learned a lot, from the big companies and from college. And then I figure, let me apply this to my own company and see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a great business and also a great product because this is protein product. Can you talk a little bit about the product and what is its unique benefits?
Yeah, man. So this is a protein puff. I call it protein puff. It's a functional snack, I call this functional because it's a snack that tastes good, but instead of just having empty calories like most other snacks, you actually have some benefit to it. Our products have 20 grams of protein in a bag. They're full of fiber, and it's all natural fiber from the beans and the ingredients themselves. There's like very little sugar added to it. The most is 2 grams on one of our products, and it's all made from clean, ingredients that you can pronounce and that you can know. So there's nothing funny, chemicals, no preservatives. It was basically done so that it was as close as a whole food that you can get, but with all the nutrition. So, very good tasting product, high protein, high fiber, good for any occasion, really.
And the great thing about it is, there's a huge fitness enthusiast industry in North America and across the globe now. Now, I think more and more people are becoming more, fitness conscious, and people are always looking for, either snacks or things that are high protein, not a lot of calories, not sugar. So I think this fits or targets a very big market. What have you like when you started this? Did you do any research, or did you kind of have an instinct that that's going to be a big demand for it?
I did do a little research, man. So the way that it came about, personally, I'm really into fitness, right? I've been doing a lot of bodybuilding and working out and just doing a lot of sports. So I was always interested on the nutrition part. What kind of foods do I need to eat to perform at my best? So that was always a thing for me. And One of my last jobs was at Nestle, and I was working for the performance nutrition division. And
Hmm.
what they did is that they actually used science to create new products. they had the product called Power Bar. And if you remember Power Bar, but Power Bar was the first bar, and it was a bar
Hmm.
made for people that were into running. So it provided the energy that they needed so they could go, and run a marathon. And then they started, basically merging into more high protein products and things like that. And that's why I came in. I came in as a director for product development to try to come up with new ways of incorporating, food for athletes. And so I learned a lot about the needs of the body in terms of nutrients. And what I wanted to do is create, when I started my business, I figured, I think that there is a gap there where, there's a product that could have similar nutrition to what most of us need, as active adults and young adults and kids, uh, but um, but in the snack area, something that you could just have in the middle of the day without being a total meal replacement or a full bar. And so that, and it's like, and I feel like everything is just chewy, wet, shakes. I was like, there isn't anything that is actually crunchy that you could enjoy. So that's how I come up with this crunchy puff idea, that had the protein and all the other nutrients that, we need as active people.
And I totally agree. I mean, it's not just daytime. I think, people get a lot of cravings at night, nighttime. They,
Yeah.
they want to snack or something.
Why not
Um,
have something good, right? If you're gonna have something
yeah,
indulgent, you might as well feel good about it and not feel guilty after you're done with it.
exactly, exactly. So when you launched, can you talk a little bit about your launch and maybe even before launch, like what was, I know you were in this industry and you were very experienced in the product development itself. Did you kind of come up with this product yourself? Like, did you do it in your own kitchen? Did you work with some sort of a commercial kitchen? How did you come up with this product, and then how did you kind of launch it?
Man, right here in my kitchen. Right there, man, right next to the pot and pans, that I was cooking everything else with. Um, that's kind of how I started it, and just to kind of come up with some little concepts with. But my product is a form that you can't just make on a kitchen. It's made by a specific equipment that it's a massive, big equipment that, basically not everybody has. So I had to
Hmm.
go and search for this equipment. And I ended up doing some of my work in around the Illinois area, like Chicago area. There was a company there that was a manufacturer of this equipment. And I asked them to see if I could come in for a day or two and kind of start messing around with some different formulas. But the flavor part, that's something that I could do at home. That's something I
Hmm.
could do in my own kitchen. Um, once I had the puff, the base made at the bigger machine, then I could bring those and kind of season in different ways. And so that part of the development, I did it right here. So that's how I came up with the peanut base, the cinnamon, and then later I did the cocoa. Now we have a cheddar jalapeno and a barbecue, which, again, this is stuff that it could be done here.
Awesome. Um, What kind of investment did you have to make at the beginning? I mean, just by the sounds of it, because you created it in your own kitchen and you're working with uh, a bigger company to, I guess, rent their equipment or something.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it sounds like it didn't require a lot of investment, but what was, I mean, did you make a lot of personal investment into this business?
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say it wasn't as high as it could potentially could have been. But my investment on my personal investment, from my own funds was about 250,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So it seems like, I don't know, I heard of people spending, 500,000, before they actually launch. If they have to do some, trials and things like that. So that kind of money got me going through the first couple of years, actually. So it wasn't just to launch, but actually to get going, with all the other marketing expenses that I had to do at the beginning, building my website and creating marketing material, sales material and stuff like that. And then soon after that, I actually had my brothers invest in the company for another about $200,000. And that was for purchasing of some equipment.
Hmm.
So we actually have the equipment to make the product now, and we manufacture our product in our own equipment. So that came from that investment. That was after probably 2 or 3 years, into the business.
Um, did you launch it? At what point did you launch it? Like, did you launch, like, did the product development process take 2 to 3 years, or you purchased the
No,
equipment
the
later on?
development, I started the company in 2015. I believe I actually had product made into consumers' hands about a year and a half after that. So it took me about a year of product development. Um, but then when I started manufacturing it at a co-manufacturer, and I was there for maybe a year or so. And the problem with my product is that it has peanuts in it, and peanuts
Yeah.
is an allergen. So a lot of manufacturing facilities didn't want a product with allergen in their facilities because they can't segregate it from the rest of it.
Yeah.
So everywhere I went, it was either a no or hey, we'll try it, and then it was no, we can't do it, we can't segregate it,
Hmm.
and that's the reason why we ended up buying our own equipment. But the first year and a half. I have found this one guy out in Florida who was willing to try it, and we worked with him for about a year and a half until he decided that he wasn't getting more business from other companies because of the peanut. So
Hmm.
we had to go.
Have you, do all of your products contain peanuts, or have you since then substituted for a different, like, let's say, plant protein or something?
No, the basis for the product was peanut. I thought
Okay.
about, saying no more peanuts, but that was kind of what makes us unique and different.
Hmm.
And in a way, it was sort of a competitive advantage because no one else was able to do it, because of the
Hmm.
same issues. So everybody was kind of staying away from peanut. We brought it in and say, you know what, we'll just gonna embrace it and fight through it. And that's exactly what we did. So our products still have peanuts in it, which now I believe we're the only manufacturing facility in the Northeast that can handle peanuts with this type of process. So,
Wow.
it's kind of brought some competitive advantage to it.
I mean, that makes me think that, I mean, this is a business for you, but you could be in a manufacturing business itself. Like, if other companies want you to create their products because you're such a specialized facility,
I
you
know,
could
man.
probably.
And to be honest, to tell, not to make the story very long, but we did got into manufacturing, thinking exactly what you just said. And we started our own facility. We built it up here in New Jersey, but it was just very it was hard, man. It was hard to be doing the brand and manufacturing at the same time. And I felt like, we had to choose one or the other.
Hmm.
And so, I have my passion for the brand personally. So I figured, what, let me stick to the brand and try to find a place where somebody else can make my product.
Hmm.
That's where we stand today. We have a co-manufacturing facility. But I did give it a try, man. And I think you have to have you gotta have a passion for what you do, man. If you don't really like what you're doing, even though there's money to be made, I don't know, it's not as fulfilling. At least that's how I felt. So I decided to stick to the brand and give the manufacturing out.
Yeah, no, I think that makes complete sense. And, um, I think that's a decision that every entrepreneur makes, how big they want their business to be, or, how focused or how broad. And I think that's a completely
Right,
fair
right.
choice. When you launched, did you see an immediate uptake? I mean, the value proposition is very strong. And so anybody who's a nutrition enthusiast, exercise, fitness person, Like they would want to go, try it out rather quickly.
Yeah.
Did you see a quick, immediate uptick?
Initially, yes, but it's funny, man, because when we first launched, really the protein craze wasn't there. Like I feel like the protein craze has been kind of growing in the last 2, 3 years. Now it's like at its peak, I think. So
Hmm.
you start seeing a lot of products with protein now everywhere.
Hmm.
But when I first launched about 8 years ago, protein wasn't really that big. There was more of a keto, gluten-free. That's what was going on back then. So we got a lot of attention because of the flavor profile.
Hmm.
So it was the first peanut tasting puff, kind of like a Cheeto, but with peanuts.
Hmm.
And that's what caught the attention, not the protein and everything else.
Hmm.
Yeah. So actually the product we were naming it peanut puff. Now we changed it to protein puff because peanut puffs became almost like not an interest anymore, after a few years.
Hmm.
And now, what we always wanted to convey was the protein anyway. So now we're, like delighted that the market has gone this way and we're actually taking advantage of it now. But it took off because of the flavor profile and
Hmm.
now because of the functionality, which is great.
Hmm. It almost seems like, or it almost sounds like that there is a bigger market. I mean, there's a market for protein puffs, but there may be a bigger market for people who just want the
Yeah.
puffs and
Yeah.
don't care about the nutritional profile. As long as you give them the cheese and the good flavor, they're willing to
100%,
buy.
man. 100%. And like, I can't tell you how many times we talked about that because obviously our product was more expensive than a regular, cheese puff or Cheetos because of all the ingredients that we're putting in there and the protein. Protein is very expensive.
Hmm.
So our product was always higher price than everything else. And yet, we had a good flavor. So we were always thinking, what if we just forget about the protein and all this stuff and just provide a flavorful puff, you
Hmm.
know? But we decided that, now let's just stick to what we made the product for, which is the functionality, the protein, and make sure that it's got something better than just empty calories.
Do you now think about expanding your product portfolio? So, for example, I mean, when I go out and I'm looking for like those uh, taco things, I'm looking for the ones with higher protein, or
Yeah.
I mean, when I go out shopping, everything I'm looking for, like which one has higher protein,
Okay. Yeah.
and it seems like there is an opportunity to have either other products in the snack uh, uh, category, or maybe even a different category where you can create other products with higher proteins. Like, have you ever
Yeah.
considered that?
I mean, I tell you, you got it because one of the things that we notice is how people use our product. And one of the ways that they use it is a cereal,
Yeah.
for breakfast. So that's an opportunity there for us to introduce this product almost like a cereal snack, something that maybe is shaped differently and more of a breakfast treat that you can have on the run, on the go, even without having to use a liquid like a milk or oat milk, whatever, something that you still have dry. That's an opportunity. Another one is, there's all these trends going on right now, weight loss, for instance. Our product, it could be a snack that is fit for people that are on weight loss, in their weight loss journey, whether it's, semaglutides or whatever. It's got the fiber, it's got the protein density, which is what they're recommending people that are on this diet. So that's another spin that you can take. Same with gut friendly. Our products are low FODMAP, which means that basically for people who are sensitive, to certain foods, our products don't have those ingredients that make them stomach upset.
Hmm.
So we have a low FODMAP, certification, that we can promote. But again, it's kind of like, okay, where do we want to be?
Yeah.
What do we want to do? Um, and that's kind of where we've actually transitioned a few times. We've actually done the gut-friendly thing, and then we transitioned back to protein. Before then, it was just about flavor. It just kind of depends where the market, what the market's looking for. But it feels like the product that we made, it just fits into so much different,
Hmm.
opportunity. There's so much different opportunities because it's just well-engineered product, you
Yeah.
know.
And
So
your manufacturing is completely in North America, right? Like so you're not impacted by tariffs and all these things, craziness, right?
no, not directly. So I mean, I think everybody's impacted indirectly.
Okay.
We get all our ingredients from here, but I know, for instance, the spices, right? A lot of the ingredients in the seasonings are coming from overseas. And so we buy the seasoning from an American company, but they're getting it from India or from China, and they're seeing higher prices. So
Hmm.
we're being affected by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I see that you have a website, but I'm assuming that this kind of a product, which could be an impulse purchase, or it could be more of like, once a person gets used to your product, then, when they're doing their grocery shopping, then they're picking it up like that. Is it primarily a retail business, or do you see a lot of uptake on your direct to consumer also?
So right now it's about 50-50, and it's changed. So when we first started, before 2020, let's say, it was all retail, right?
Hmm.
2020, it was COVID time. So after 2020, it was all mostly all online,
Hmm.
because we didn't have much access to brick and mortar stores, and we had to pivot and start to figure out how do we sell a product. And online became it became huge. Everybody was buying groceries online.
Hmm.
So we decided to play the same game. And so we started selling a lot online.
Hmm.
Now that things are kind of back to normal, retailers now thriving again. So now we're getting back into retail again. So we're about 50-50 right now between, direct to consumer and retail. I think it's good business. Both are good businesses.
Hmm.
We see actually a lot of our product being bought at the grocery store, but through orders online. So, home delivery,
Okay.
Instacart or Amazon, right?
Hmm.
People are ordering from Whole Foods, but they're delivering it to their home because
Yeah.
they're ordering online. We're seeing a lot of that too. So I think the online e-commerce opportunity for food is still pretty good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But your e-commerce probably has a higher margin, right?
Than retail?
Than
Yes.
retail, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, our website much better than Amazon, for instance, and retail kind of sits somewhere in between.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Amazon is the worst.
Oh yeah, man.
Amazon
Amazon,
takes away all the money. Okay.
everything, man.
Interesting.
It's almost like, it's like you have to be there. You don't want to be there, but you have to.
Yeah.
And we compete against Amazon ourselves. Like we have product in Amazon, but we want to sell through our website because we get
Yeah.
better, margins. And now we're trying to figure it out. How do we beat our own selves in Amazon? How do we tell people that come to our website not to go to Amazon,
Yeah. One strategy that I was talking to another business, and one strategy that they did is I think they increased the price on Amazon. So when somebody saw the product, it was a higher price there, but then they searched it online and they found the website and it was lower price there. So
Yeah.
they went and purchased it online on the
Yeah.
website.
I mean, we try to, one of the things we're doing is actually on our website, you could build your own. Let's say we have a six pack, you could build your own six pack. So you can put as many flavors and different variations as you want, which you cannot do it on Amazon. Amazon is a set, whatever
Hmm.
it is set. So that's one way of, where we provide a little extra.
Hmm.
We also do a lot of promotions on the website that we don't do on Amazon. Usually Amazon, we just let it go at the same price.
Hmm.
Um, but it's hard to beat them on delivery,
Yeah.
and that's what we lose is delivery. Free shipping if you have Prime and receive it the next day. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of impossible for us to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of your marketing, do you do a lot of marketing? Do you do paid advertising, or is it mostly word of mouth and organic?
Yeah. So right now we're doing mostly organic. We've done a lot of paid advertising. We actually done TV. We actually done like Meta ads, Google ads. We've worked with some influencers, not to the level of more than 10 million or something, but
Hmm.
micro influencers, nano influencers. Um, but mostly what we're doing today is organic social media, event marketing. We try to do a lot of, especially local events, where we have retailers. Here in New Jersey, we have Whole Foods, right? We're in Wegmans, ShopRite. So we try to support those by going to, trying to hit events, especially where we know there's going to be some more consumers, people that are looking for healthier alternatives.
Hmm.
So that seems to be working well for us. Email marketing, we do that too, but again, it's mostly organic. Yeah,
No, I think that makes sense.
yeah,
But I would think that, you know, for a brand, there would still be a lot of opportunity even within the US. Like, I mean, in terms of brand recognition, or I'm sure like a large portion of the population still doesn't know about your product. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's expensive, man. That's the thing. Like what we notice is that with our budget, what we were playing with on Meta ads was not enough to make a
Mm.
difference. $2,000, $3,000 a month for us wasn't doing anything.
Hmm.
So after talking to some of our partners, the Mark Cuban team and everybody else, it's like, man, it's like there's these brands that are actually doing well with Meta ads and Google ads are spending $20,000 a month,
Hmm.
$30,000 a month. That's where we're seeing, some returns. But, 2,000, 3,000, it's like, man, I think you better spend that money on, sampling and doing more of a local, marketing. So that's what we decided to do.
Speaking of Mark Cuban, I want to briefly talk about your Shark Tank experience. So, I was watching it, and I think what Mark Cuban said, I will change your life. I mean, when were you on Shark Tank? And
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've gone through with the deal. What kind of support have you received from Mark Cuban?
Yeah. So I was in Shark Tank on 2020. I
Okay.
think the program aired around October, I believe, or something like that. We were one of the first ones from that season, which is
Hmm.
great. But we made the deal with Mark Cuban and we did it exactly as we said it on TV. Like nothing changed.
Hmm.
I've spoken to a lot of brands that say that things change. Some deals don't go through, some change a lot in terms
Hmm.
of, you know, um, in terms of the terms. But for us, it just went through, it was clean. He's still our partner.
Hmm.
We work with him pretty much on a weekly basis, not with Mark himself, but with his team.
Hmm.
We have a team that he assigned to, I guess, probably all his brands. So they help us out with marketing strategy. They help us out with trying to get into, like if we have if we're looking for a specific retailer, for instance, like there's someone there that I could ask, hey, can you introduce me to someone at Target? I'm trying to get into
Hmm.
Target, let's say, something like that.
Hmm.
So we get that kind of support.
Okay.
Mark also, more of a high level strategy. Like he helped us with the rebranding of the product, when we first started with him. He felt like we needed to do a refresh on the bags and everything else. So we did that with him. So it's been great, man. I mean, it's been helpful just to
Mm.
have his name behind it.
Yeah.
We can go into a sales presentation and just say, hey, yeah, we got Mark Cuban, on our team, and it makes a difference already. Just
Yeah.
knowing that, hey, this guy actually believes in them. There must be something about these guys.
Yeah.
And then, personally, what they do for us on a weekly basis is nice. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah. I mean, Shark Tank has, and of course, Mark Cuban, both are such well-known names, global names. It's like
yeah,
it's instant credibility. It opens probably so many doors, right?
yeah,
I
yeah, it
want
helps.
to, yeah, I want to ask you briefly about your own health, and because in Shark Tank you took off your shirt, and I mean even when I was watching it, I was like, that's credibility also. Like when you see someone with like good body and muscle, like you have to give them certain credit about their discipline and work ethic and all those things. And I think that probably made a difference in terms of you getting the deal also. Can you talk a little bit about your like what if I want to get that kind of body, like what is the secret? Because I'm looking for that secret, but and
Uh,
I'm sure other people are also.
yeah. It's funny because like when I did that, for everybody that haven't watched it, I think it's season 12, episode 2 or something like that. You can find it on YouTube if you do like Shark Tank Pnuff. But basically midway through it, right, I just like I'm telling about this product that is good for you and it's good for your body, and I was like, okay, here's his proof of it, and I did get a lot of laughs, I gotta say, you know, um, probably too many to the point where like I forgot where I was on my pitch. And Mark was actually
I think that sold more than probably your pitch. I think I
probably,
mean I'm
yeah,
telling you, it's like that's instant credibility.
yeah. So I've been active, all my life. I love sports, but I never really got into muscle building until after college. And, I just, I was kind of a skinny kid in a way, and I wanted to get, more bulk. So I started reading a lot about, muscle magazines, what the pros were doing to work out and everything else. One thing that I found that I was very like I feel like the exercises were the same, but one thing that vary a lot is like the nutrition. Like there were so many different opinions about what you should be eating. You know, Back in the 80s, it was all about carbs. And after that, it was like no carbs. Then it was like no fat. Then it was
Hmm.
fat, a lot of fat. And then it was like more protein, less protein. And so there was a lot of, I think, misunderstanding, as to what was required. And that's one of the reasons why I, got more interested in learning about sports nutrition. And what I learned is that, to achieve the physique that you want, it's not all about exercising. You could exercise all you want, but if your nutrition is poor, you're not going to see the results that you are looking for. I think, people throw numbers and percentages, they say it's, 70% nutrition, 30% exercise. Maybe that's about right. But I can tell you that someone that has worked out for 10 years and has had poor nutrition, you might not even be able to know that this guy goes to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
You know, uh, yeah, someone that maybe goes 2 or 3 times, a week to the gym and does for 1 hour and has a really great nutrition, you will see that this guy is like, holy crap, this guy's chisel. I want to have his body.
Yeah.
So it's all about, we already have muscle. So it's almost about, it's more about showing the muscle that you already have. And how do you do that? It's through nutrition. Exercise, what it does is that increases the volume of the muscle that you
Hmm.
already have, but it's the nutrition that is going to show it off.
Hmm.
So the main thing, for everybody that's listening, carb control.
Carb
That's what it's
control.
all about. It's carbs control and make sure that you get enough protein. If
Okay.
there's two things, is make sure you have enough protein and make sure that you control your carbs because your carbs is what makes you gain weight and feel like bloated and gain fat. So you want to make sure that you have carbs because you need them for energy, but not over, not in excess that it stores, in your body as fat.
I mean, but it does require a lot of discipline and restraint, I guess, to be able to eat very healthy, very clean, consistently, avoid carbs because it's challenging.
Yeah. But like what I tell people, right, that ask me, I said, look, you got to do it. You can't, it's tempting to do it all at once, you know? Say, I want to do exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger is doing, It's very hard to do that. I think you need to kind of do it in steps. The
Hmm.
first step is like, okay, this is what I eat. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the amount of what I eat. So I'm going to eat the same things, but instead of eating, one slice, two slices of pizza, let me cut it in half. I'm going to have
Hmm.
one slice of pizza. Now, as you will start seeing the change.
Hmm.
I can guarantee it. And then once you start seeing the change, it's like, whoa, 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 hold on, man. I like this. I
Hmm.
want to keep going. Okay, what's my next step? Now it's like, okay, instead of having the pizza, let's make the pizza more healthy. So, take half the cheese, you know,
Hmm.
get the whole wheat, bread, things like that, and
Hmm.
then you graduate to the next level where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna have the pizza anymore. I'm just gonna have a toast with like some, sauce and maybe a little bit of cheese, and you keep graduating like that until it just becomes part of your life. Like I
Yeah.
eat, I could go to any restaurant, and eat healthy because I tell, I right away I'm like looking at the dish and it's like, okay, this stuff's like fully with cheese. So I tell them right away, okay, hold the cheese, no cheese. Or if I'm gonna have a salad, it's like, what kind of dressing do you have? Do you have just vinegar,
Hmm.
instead of, some fatty dressing,
Hmm.
So you start to like understand food, you start to understand what is excess calories and which is not right for you. And you start to modify and it becomes easy, man. You
Hmm.
know, it becomes really easy.
I think
So
it's great advice, start somewhere wherever you are, make incremental improvements, and as you see improvements and you feel good, I think it will motivate you, it'll, help you build that momentum and,
yeah,
become even better. So I think
yeah,
that's a great advice.
yeah.
Um, in every entrepreneur journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. Since you've started this business, what is a big mistake that comes to mind or a failure? What lesson you learned from it, and what can other entrepreneurs learn from your mistakes?
Yeah, man, there's so many. But, I always think back, it's like, oh, what would I have done differently? I think, every entrepreneur has his own journey, I feel like sometimes we tend to look at other entrepreneurs that maybe have grown really fast and then sold their company for millions of dollars, I'm like, oh my God, what did this guy do that I haven't done, And the reality is that they haven't done probably anything different than what you're doing. They're probably doing exactly the same. They probably went through the same questions and things that you did, but somehow they might have been in the right place at the right time, when something happened good for them.
Hmm.
And not everything happens for everybody the same way. So you just
Hmm.
got to have your own journey, follow your own journey, follow your own, your own process. Don't get frustrated, don't get discouraged by seeing your peers moving, selling faster than you are or growing faster than you are. You have no idea what they're going through. They might be in complete debt, and soon enough they might be out of business while you're
Hmm.
growing slowly and having a profit, and basically making it farther than they would. So that's one thing that I would say, just look at your own journey and yeah, don't ignore the things that are around you. Ask for a lot of questions. That's one thing that I probably didn't do at the beginning. Like I felt like I knew everything because I came from the food industry,
Hmm.
and I should have probably had a little more, discussions with some other entrepreneurs about, hey, in this case, what do you guys do? I, I kind of just went in and started swinging at the bat,
Hmm.
and I missed a lot of balls because I probably didn't have the right mentorship that could have
Hmm.
guided me, to get better, better business. So I think initially I missed a lot of business because just naiveness, Um, so build a good network, get a good mentor, talk through things with them, try to learn as much as you can, and then just focus on your business.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice. Now I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in a word or a sentence or so. So the first
Yeah.
one is one book recommendation for entrepreneurs and why?
Um, it's funny. I feel I'm embarrassed to say I don't read books, man. I listen to podcasts,
Okay.
and not a lot about entrepreneurship, but mostly about religion.
Hmm.
I get inspired by religion. I feel it's helped me the most on my business.
Hmm.
And the reason is because of, there's so much you can do, and there's a lot of stress and frustration, when you're running a business, and you got to believe that there's something else out there
Hmm.
that is helping you get through it
Hmm.
beyond your capabilities, because you can only do so much. And
Hmm.
after that, you have to believe that, God is out there, guiding you and taking you through. So I
Hmm.
do listen to a lot of podcasts, you know, about religion and stuff like that.
I mean that's definitely a unique answer, and I can understand that faith can definitely make things easier when there's difficult times going on and so forth. So very very
Yeah.
interesting advice. Um, an innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about.
Innovative, man, there's, I can't remember the name of it, but there's a watch, that kind of, um, it doesn't tell you the time, but really what it's doing is reading your body
Hmm.
and telling you, your signals, like what's going on with your heart, what's going on with, if you're stressed, it basically tells you. And I think that's amazing what this thing can do and what it could be doing in the future. Because I feel like at my age, for instance, I'm 56 years old, and then everything that I do now, I feel like it's gonna affect me, a couple of years later.
Hmm.
So I want to make sure that my body is like performing at its best is tuned up to the best. And if I have a tool, that could tell me, hey man, you just went out drinking. It's like all your bios are like going crazy. I was like, okay, man, you know what? I'm gonna maybe, cut down a little bit on the drinking, or
Hmm.
or maybe I need to walk around a little more or do whatever.
Hmm.
I forgot the name of the watch, man, but
Hmm.
I'm
I
trying to
think
get it.
these
It's very
days,
expensive right now.
yeah. I think these days there's quite a few products. I mean, I think it's called the quantitative self movement, right? Where
Maybe.
I think there's like a ring that does the same thing. It collects data. There's like watches, even I think
Yeah.
say I smart watches like the Apple Watch and things like that. I
Yeah.
think they do collect some data also. So that's a great product.
Yeah.
A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip.
A business or product. Well, that product I like. Technology. I think everybody should be looking at AI, So that's one thing I've integrated into everything I do, man. From the simplest thing like, using ChatGPT for everything to whatever tools that are out there that can help you build a better, canvas or build better images or better emails or websites or whatever. I mean, take advantage of all that stuff, man. It's amazing. It's amazing. It drives me crazy when I talk to someone and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what," like, we're like, "Dude, just ask ChatGPT, man." Like at least get started that way. Um, so I mean, I would recommend that to every entrepreneur. Make sure they embed themselves into it, man. Spend the time to learn more about, what this thing can do and use it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it has improved productivity so much. It's like you can do things now that would take you hours to do before. So it's definitely a
Oh
great
yeah,
productivity tool.
it's amazing.
Um, a peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you.
Man, I would say, seems like an obvious, but I mean, some people hate him, but Elon Musk, man, to me, has been like someone that I admire, man. I mean, the way that he does business, he believes in his own businesses, by the way. He invests his own money, right? And then he just does things that people think is crazy
Hmm.
and unachievable, and he makes them happen. I mean, I'm a sucker for Tesla, man. I got a Tesla car. I got this self-driving thing going on, and I don't drive anymore, man. It's like I couldn't imagine myself 5 years ago saying I'm not gonna be driving in New York City, and I could take my Tesla into New York City and never touch the wheel until I have to park. When I park, yeah, I'll do it myself.
But
But
are you still looking at the road? Like, I mean, I've heard that every once in a while it does have accidents.
you got to look. You kind of look at. You got to look at the road. Otherwise it kind of like it's smart. It knows that you're. If you're looking at your phone, it knows that you're looking at your phone, so it gives you like a little beeping sound.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
but
Okay.
I think this guy, man, has done so many things that are like life changing. Truly life changing, and I think he's not done yet. So. I truly, and he fails, man. I know that he's failed more time, way more times than what he's achieved, succeeded. And that's kind of like our lesson, right? Like we can't be afraid of trying new things and really having a dream, and try to achieve the dream. If you can dream, and like they said, right, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And I believe it, man. So, it's admirable, man, that he actually goes for it and you know, s- eh, some things happen, some things fail, but the things that he's done is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I think in the history of humanity, there's like very few rare people who have kind of individually moved humanity forward, right? And he's one of those guys. So we're lucky to see him in action,
You
right?
living here, yeah.
Final question: best business advice that you have ever received, or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Um, Again, man, I think I go back to, you know, think about what is it that you really love about what you do. Um, Keep thinking that that's the reason why you started your business. It's a long road. It's a very hard road. It's hard to stay motivated sometimes. And the only thing is, think about, okay, why I started this business in the first place, and keep that goal in mind. And again, man, just understand that you can't do it all.
Yeah,
You can't do it all. And you gotta have the support, and you gotta have, a spiritual life, I think, to be able to put some of your problems in somebody else's hand. I do
yeah,
that with God and said, look, this is your problem now, man. I've done everything I can.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you'd be surprised, how true it is that the presence is there, man. Like in the worst times when you think you're done, he puts something in front of you, like, oh my God, it couldn't be a better time. Like this is exactly what I needed.
yeah,
And it's including the Shark Tank. I mean, when Shark Tank happened for me, it was almost, because COVID was going around, business was really bad. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to close my business. And the only thing that could save it was a Shark Tank. And this is exactly what happened. I got a call. out of the blues. It's like, hey, you want to be in Shark Tank? Like just like that. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? It's like,
Wow.
okay, this is a joke, you know? And I could tell you so many different stories like that that's happened to me. So you know, it's yeah, just know that you don't have control over everything.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you know, people think that, hard work and you'd be smart and, I think people think that they control more than the reality is you have very little control.
Yeah,
And you're living in a world that is very random and things are happening and basically some people are luckier than others. It's like,
right,
now you can consider it like, a person of faith think you can think that it's a divine intervention, but
right.
somebody maybe who's not that faithful, it I think it's maybe just randomness also.
Yeah.
So I
But then
think
again, but yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But that's what, you know, that's what I also think that that's what your road, you know, everybody has his own road because again, you know, what you think is best for you may not be the best thing, you know, so, you know, maybe it takes you through this different path and that's okay, you know, as long as you're, you know, enjoying the journey, you know, uh, doing what you can, and that's fine. Whatever you end up is fine because you'll know that you did everything you can and you did everything to your capabilities, and that's fine with me, man. I'm happy with that.
awesome. Well, Dr. Juan, thank you so much. I know I went a little bit over time,
Yeah, no
but I
problem.
really
Thank
appreciate
you.
the opportunity. If anybody wants to check out your products, what is the best way to do that?
So our website, you know, pnuff.com, pnuff.com. We're also sold on Amazon. We're also sold on Whole Foods, Wegmans, ShopRite up here in the Northeast. But our website is, you know, the best place to find us.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Juan, thank you so much again for the opportunity, for sharing your story, for your lessons learned, successes, and I wish you all the very best in your future
Thank you,
business
bro.
journey.
Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you.